There we go. So now we're going to talk about the destination cruise workflows, that type of stuff. And these are tagged workflows. What I like to talk about with these are things that are only going to happen in that country or on that cruise line. So that it's going to look a little bit different. And where I add these are, I'm going to go back to one place here, is in my initial workflow of when it's booked. So once a client is booked, I now have information, right? I now know where they're going. I now know if they're going on a cruise. I know if they're going to Europe. I know if they're going to last. I now have information. So I actually have a task that I add to my very first booked workflow. And what it says is, I'm going to create it and I'm going to show you what I put on there. I'm going to actually delete this one. I don't know why it's being slow, but it is. My apologies, it's taking so long here. There we go. Whoops. Let's just go ahead and refresh it. I think we crash turned. I'll have to apologize to the group, the team, say, hey, sorry. I may or may not be the reason that this system can't crash. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Well, guys, that's really weird. Okay, I'm going to try it one more time. Sorry about that. Go to the booked workflow. And I'm going to add a task. There we go. It just did it immediately. I'm guessing we just had too many people do it at the same time. So the task that I add to my booked workflow is I add tag-based workflows. And in parentheses, you might want to put cruises, international, destination, whatever, just to remind you what you're doing, okay? I do that and I do this right away. Again, as soon as I know where they're booked and going to, I put those on there because people are not aware of this. They think they can only have one workflow on a trip at a time. You can stack as many workflows as you need to. And I'm going to show you some examples of that in a second. But a tag-based workflow is going to be how you are now communicating, excuse me, that you're communicating to your client about the destination they're going to or on the cruise ship. So you guys just saw in the chat that beautiful list of things. Well, maybe some of those things that you saw don't really fit in a trip status workflow. Maybe there are some things in there that, yeah, that needs to go for every trip, but then there might have been stuff like, talking about apps that are available in internationally, or the ETA that's for the UK, or EES that's for Europe, or the agricultural for Hawaii, or there's all those different things that are very much the e-ticket, whatever, for the Dominican Republic. There are things that are very much specific to a destination or a cruise line you're going to. So for instance, for me, like when I book a Virgin Voyages things timing is very, very different than a Princess cruise line. So I want to have a Princess cruises and I want to have a Virgin Voyages cruises, and I also have destinations. And I'm going to actually, instead of going into the demo account, I am actually going to be inside of my actual account, so I can show you some different types of tagged workflows. And then I'm going to show you, they are created the same as your other trip request ones, but I'm going to show you how the trigger's different. Okay. And I'm just getting some papers out of the way here. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to go to that. This is not the one I want to be on. I want to be here. Okay. So I am now currently in my own personal workflows, and I'm going to go to workflows. So we talked about how my numbered workflows are all of my trip status workflows. That means that they are triggered by a trip status. Okay. With the exception of my first one, which is contact. All of my other workflows are triggered by using a tag. So I'm going to go to my, I'll just click on Destination International Workflows. So what I do is as I get a trip to somewhere, I start creating a workflow for it. Okay. So there are some things that as I've gone through, I realized, you know what, every international trip that I have, I need to send out the step, that step program to make sure people are signing up with the embassy wherever they're going to make sure that they know that people know where they're being traveled. It doesn't matter where they're going. I want to make sure that gets sent out on every international email. But I may not need that on, I don't need that step on if a client is going to Hawaii. I don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Hawaii workflow. So in Hawaii, I do have two different ones. And you'll notice on these ones, I do have a tendency to have active and inactive ones on this. And the reason that is because I might, like I had somebody that doing just Maui, doing just Oahu, but then I had somebody that is doing Maui and Oahu. So I wanted to do both. And I just realized this is a little messed up, so ignore it. But anyway, I have an email that talks about the agricultural declaration. That needs to be sent just about 4 days before the trip does. And I tell them exactly how to go through and do their declaration so that can be taken care of before they go. I don't know why I have it inactive. I think must have been doing something in this email. This is probably, or this workflow. I haven't got anybody going to Hawaii right now, so it doesn't matter. But I'm going to go back into a different one. I'm going to go back into the destination ones that have a little bit more information in them. So let's just, I just had somebody get back to the Dominican Republic. So in my Dominican Republic workflow, I have their overview, they booked, hey, letting them know you guys are going here. This is kind of, you're booked. Here's a quick entry list to keep things easy. I send it out a little bit ahead of time, just so that they know some of the things that they're going to have happen. Okay. They don't have to do them right now. I'm letting them know I'm going to send those information, real basic, real overbid. Again, touch points, right? So that one is what that one is for. And then I did that wanderlust. And then I, for some reason, put the step in here. I realized the other day, I don't need to do that. I could actually delete this because I'm going to also apply the international one. And then the things that are specific to the actual trip, the 2 days before, the 2 days after type things. So that is specifically things that have to happen for Dominican Republic. Okay. Then you've got your cruise lines, or you've got resorts. And so in my cruise lines, I have all of my different cruises, and I don't say, oh, I need to go make one for every single cruise line. I don't make the workflow until I have somebody book it. Okay, because to me it's silly. I literally had my first booking for Holland America, and I'm actually just started working on this workflow. They're not traveling till next year, but I've got my first Holland America. I didn't have it done. This just happened in October. I guess they talked about it in October, then we had to postpone it, and now it's booked. But it was kind of funny because I had never used Holland America. It wasn't in my workflows, but they are now. Well, Virgin Voyages, I do quite a bit of those, and they do have quite a bit of automation set up. These are all the emails that I set up. Now, remember how I told you I created tasks? I literally had a task for every single one of these until I created it so that I would know what was available and what needed to be done. Okay, so that is how we're doing now. How we're creating those things. How and where do you get that information? Okay, so everybody's going, well, these are great, but I don't know all this stuff. Well, there are several ways for you to be able to create destination or cruise specific, those type of things. And some of those things that you'll want to do is talk to the BDMs. If you have a BDM, find out what those are. Go to the website. I created projects in my Claude that tells them only look at the website for this cruise line, and I want to know when things are due, or I'll say what's available on the ship. And I always tell clients that it has to be true, and I make them give me links to the page so I can verify everything. And that's how I usually start my workflows. You can create a GPT and Chat GPT, same concept. I used to use Chat GPT. I moved over to Claude. Those are the ways that I help myself walk through and create these specific workflows. I do them for different destinations. So the way I got my Dominican Republic one is I went and found their official travel tourism website for the Dominican Republic, and I used that. That is one of my URLs, and I also got their official government website with the travel information on it, and I took that URL and created a project using those as my sources of truth. Okay. And then I would say, help me create this. And then, of course, you have to go through and verify everything. So that's how I do that. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit more about making sure you're covering check-in timelines. So when you're doing some of these things, maybe like American Cruise Lines, their check-in doesn't open up until 2 weeks prior to checking in. But I know, like on Virgin, as soon as you make final payment, I believe it is, that you can actually start checking in and doing stuff. So every cruise line has just a little bit different stuff. Same thing with resorts, I believe. Same things with other places. So depending on what they are, those check-in timings and deadlines might look a little bit different. You'll notice one thing that I never put in any of these is a whoops, I hit the wrong one there, sorry. I don't put in a payment plan because that's already my statuses. I don't do a specific cruise line payment because I'm going to send them in, they're already in the process. To make a tagged workflow work for you. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry. I keep doing that. I want to go to this and create a new window. And I'm going to go back into my my test account because I want to do it from here so you guys can see it from scratch. So to create tagged workflows, and this is what I recommend you're doing. So I first looked at my board and my trips, and I said, what things do I have on my board of people that are coming in that I want to make sure that I don't miss out on? And then I take my list, and it's like, okay, I've got somebody going to Alaska. That's going to be a custom one. That's going to be an Alaska trip. I don't know where that was going. Maybe I've got somebody going to South Africa. And, and you may have a lot more of this. And then I have Alaska cruise on Virgin. Okay. They're on Virgin. And then I'm doing a Disney cruise. And then, and then Ireland. So those are a couple right now. Those are very niched down. I've got a cruise. I've got an Alaska. I've got a Disney cruise. I have somebody going to Ireland, and I've got South Africa. So I've got 5 things that they're still going to go through my trip status workflow. But once they hit that number 6 here, I know where they're going. I know I've got it in the other stuff, but we're going to pretend that they are here. I now want to attach the workflow, a tagged workflow that tells about this Alaska adventure. Well, before I do that, I obviously have to make those workflows, but there's a piece that you need to do prior to getting ready to enable your workflows for your tags. And we are going to click on the settings. And then we're going to go to tags on the left side. And this is where you're going to enter your tags. Tags can be used different ways, okay? There's your contact tags and your trip workflow tags. You can use the same exact name. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to actually create a tag for Alaska. I'm just going to put Alaska there. I'm doing that. That tag, if I attach it to a trip workflow and I make a tagged workflow that's going to trigger when I put in Alaska, that tag is going to work on that trip. But I also could go to a contact and add a tag for that contact. So maybe I've had a client that was telling me, hey, we're going to go to Ireland, but we want to go to Alaska next year. I can tag that client with the word Alaska. That lets me know I want to make sure, and it's not going to add a workflow to them. It's just going to tag them so I can put them into my marketing for Alaska to keep that in mind, or I can watch for specials for them. While you're here, I recommend, if you know some of the tags of the, even if you're not going to make them today, I recommend you go ahead and add the tags for the cruise lines that you use all the time. Maybe the destinations, maybe you have specialty, um, maybe you do specialty niche down type travel. There's something special. You might do a Disney and Disney cruise because a Disney, like there's Disney, and you might put down land or Disneyland, you might put Disney World, Disney Cruise. Those will probably all look a little bit different type of workflows. You can create one for each of them. You may have one that has all of them. So anyway, I've got all of these now put in here, and now I can go in and I can create workflows. Now, when I go to my workflows, I'm going to follow somewhat of the same type of thing that I did before, but this time, because they're not related to a trip status, okay, not related to a trip status, I am going to put these workflows inside of folders and access them where I want. And I'm going to go ahead and start with just two of them right at the moment. And that first one is I'm going to create a file folder here, and I'm going to create one that's called international workflows. And then I'm going to create that. And within this one, remember I gave you my list of tags, right? I know that I'm going to need to have a South Africa workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and do South Africa. And you'll notice I'm not putting anything in these right now. I'm just creating the base because these are things that I know are upcoming. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to create the workflow. Now I'm going to do one thing while I'm here that I do not normally do on my other ones. Okay, I'm going to come down here and set my trigger to trip added, and I'm going to add in that South Africa right there so that when it's applied, I personally enable it at this time because I know that I can update it for what, because I don't usually have but you can update it if you want to enable it or not enable it at this time. It's enabled with nothing in here, and I can add it, and when I update stuff, I can add stuff to it. That probably did not make sense. When I update it, apply updates, it will update it, is what I meant to say. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. I'm going to do Ireland. Okay, workflow. Now, I'm doing specifically destinations or that type of thing at this point. You can do this for groups and assign your group a special tag as well. And then you can come in and start adding all those special things we talked about. So everything I need to find out about South Africa, maybe some of the things I need to know that I'm going to need to do that I can write down on a list, or I can say, check visa requirements, or visa requirements. And what I will do is I will check that. I'm not going to tell my clients, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to give them the information. So I'm going to check what the visa requirements are. Do I need to create an email around it, whatever? I'm just going to start doing things that I know I need to do. And if I need to write an email form later, I can. It's just going to help me remember what I need to do. Now I'm going to go back to my workflows. So that's how you basically set that first piece up. And I apologize, I'm not going back to my workflows yet, because we're foundational, okay? I'm going to go to my forms and my emails, and I created an international workflow. I'm going to call it international emails. And within that, I'm going to create a file folder for South Africa emails. And I'm going to come back to that international emails, and I'm going to create one for Ireland. Okay. So I am setting up my foundation just like I did before. And you can do that in forms as well. Honestly, I don't do forms as much on these international things because I, for the most time, don't have that happen. But, you can. So anyway, I'm going to go back to my templates. And I want to show you how to apply them to a trip. Okay. and how they can stack. So I'm going to go to one that I actually have in process right here. This happened to be in a group level, and I've actually got them at a group level, but I'm going to go ahead and just click on this. And under overview, on your right side, down to where it says trip settings area here, there is a place for tags. And for every time I added a tag, these workflows applied here. I can look over here under workflows, and you can see there's my Canada workflow because they're going on Alaska cruise. So they're going to go on Virgin Voyages. They're going to Alaska. They're selling out of Seattle. They're going to stop in Canada, so I want to make sure they know the law there on that. And I also, on all my cruises, I put the shore excursions workflow because I would rather have them buying their excursions through me than the cruise line because I like to make money off of them. So just be honest about that. That's why I do that. So they're all on there, and you'll notice in the overview that I was adding all of those here. And as soon as I typed that tag in, it worked. So I'm going to go back to the one up here. And even though I have nothing in my international workflows, I am going, I actually do. I have these one or South, the South Africa one. I'm going to go to one of those trips on my board. And I'm just going to, I know that, so here's my South Africa one, right? And I'm going to scroll down because I want to split screen. It's going to be down this way. And I am going to search my tags. And before I put it in there, I want to just show you on the task board, there's nothing here. Okay. Now I'm going to go down there and I'm going to put in South Africa. Now when I come up here, there's that task that I said I wanted to do. And you can see because it's auto applied. All right. I know that that's a lot. These workflows, as far as the way they're set up, as far as adding tasks, adding your automations, are exactly going to be like you would do with your other ones. You just may choose your triggers a little bit differently. For me, on a workflow like this, I'm going to add something. I'm just going to go ahead and add. So say I had an automation that I wanted to go on here. I don't know what it has to do with. We'll just say, welcome to Africa or whatever. And maybe, or thank you for booking, or maybe that's thank you for booking your South Africa work email. And I'm maybe sending this out once I apply the workflow. I can go here, and this is something you can add if as soon as the automation is added. So when I put the tag on, it's going to trigger that, or I can do it before a trip starts, before a trip ends. And so there's all these different options. I could put on trip status changes. I will tell you within tagged workflows, if possible, try not to use the trip status changes, because if you don't apply it until you get into a workflow or into that, let me say this, let me see if I can say this right. If I decide to make this trip that I'm sending this when I go to the booked balance here, but I do not add the tag, but I add the tag and I'm already in there, it's not going to trigger because it can't go back retroactively. So in this instance, if I have something I want to send immediately, it would be much better than if I have the automation added. And what's cool is they've added timing events to this. So when I add the automation, I can say, you know what, after the event, I add that. I want this email to send out 2 days later. And I can do it that way and then add the email. So on tagged workflows, if you can avoid it, don't use the trip status trigger for a tagged workflow. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So again, if you have a workflow that's going to be triggered by a tag being added to the trip, try to avoid using trip status change as your option and use automation added instead, because you can always tell it how many days later you want it to be able to set, or if it needs to be based on a trip end or trip start date, you can do it there as well. All right. So I'm going to stop there. we are basically at the end of our time here. As far as the actual setting up the basis, I know there's a lot of work that you still want to do here. I'm going to go ahead and stop for just a second. We're going to do some Q&As, questions and answers, and then I am going to do one more, and I apologize, I'm not going to do it right now. Excuse me. I'm going to talk about this. So I'm going to kind of talk about everything we've done. We've basically, you know what, that's okay, Elizabeth, we'll come back. You don't have to be worried about that because it's something we will continue teaching more and more. And I know it's a lot, okay? Tagged workflows, again, that's when I talk about a tagged workflow, that's the trigger that's going to make it so that it will apply the workflow. Instead of using trip status like we've done, it's that part. So don't worry about that part, okay? And then, so what we've done here is we have created, start at the very, very beginning from when a client has contacted us. And we have literally gone all the way through the booking deposit that we've talked a little bit about things that we do pre-trip, emails that we're going to send after. There's a whole marketing you can do afterwards, and that will look different for everybody. But basically what we've done has been very, very foundational here. You are going to be continuing to work on this, okay? So it's really important to understand that as you're creating emails, you now have folders set up and you can organize them as you go. And they aren't going to be perfect from the very start. And I always tell people, if you do this, set this up one time and it's perfect for the whole entire life, then that's just not fair. Okay. So anyway, you're going to continue layering stuff on this. Remember, what we did is by establishing that foundation, we basically have created a pipeline. We've created a pipeline to for our trips to travel through. That's trip statuses is kind of that pipeline. By turning around and as we get somebody booked and we now know where they're going, what they're doing, we now can add tags to the trip to trigger workflows that will help us through the path or pipeline of that destination or that cruise line. Okay. We talked about booking and depositing. Those things are all there. I am going to go ahead and I just want to make sure one more thing real fast. So this is kind of the things I hope that you're taking away. And remember, again, it's going to evolve over time. Get consistent. The more consistent you are, the easier this works. I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can do to help you continue with this. Set time aside that basically this is what you're going to work on and fine tune, whether it's an hour a week or hour a month, whatever. You'll be amazed what you can get done in a short time. Every weekend, there are exceptions if I'm out of town, but every weekend on either Saturday or Sunday, and I always put it in the Facebook page under the events tab. I try to put it up sometime between Tuesday and Thursday to let you know the time and day we're going to have. I usually do a Q&A in the beginning, like an hour Q&A. Sometimes I have a specific topic. Sometimes it's an open Q&A. And then at that point, we turn off and I go to a co-working session where I'm literally working in my Tern, tweaking, updating, creating new things, that type of stuff. And I'm also there to be able to answer questions. That is a time for you to come and do co-working. And the reason that it's so effective is if you're working on something and you get stuck, you don't have to wait for somebody to help answer. You can stop and say, hey, I'm trying to create this, or I can't find the right word for something, or I feel like I'm missing something, or how do I do this? Whether it's you're creating a trip, whether you're doing a workflow. Sometimes I'm doing research. Sometimes I'm doing whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're co-working and working on your trips and you're learning from each other and working with each other. this is a fine time also for you to work on those automations and those workflows and those that consistency. It's a really good time to do that. Okay. So I want to make sure I tell you about that part. So these are the 5 things I really wanted to make sure that you did walk away. So remember that trip statuses can be a trigger point. They're not just labels. Okay. Try to think of natural breaks in what's happening so that when you can look at your board, you can know exactly where your trips are at. It doesn't matter if you're niche down to something. If you need more columns than somebody else, that's fine. It needs to make sure it works with what you have done, what you're doing. Okay. Um, you're going to build those core workflows. We kind of have done most of that. We really talked about in the beginning how to get those first emails to go out to your clients. The booking workflows, as far as the payment workflows, those are pretty core pieces that you need to make sure are in place so you can take care of your clients the best you can. But the biggest thing is to start creating consistency. It's the way, like I talked about yesterday, by saying, this is how, basically, I'm telling my people right from the beginning, this is how I do things. It's creating a professional, for making me look professional. It's making it look like I'm more organized. When I'm working with somebody that is a little bit more professional, a little bit more organized, and they seem like they have their stuff together, I feel more confident. And a lot of that, again, comes from my experience of having a travel agent that did not contact me until 2 days before my payment was due for the final payment. But because I'd asked questions and I'd written it on my calendar, I knew that it was due already. So by having that stuff in place, it makes your clients be able to feel calmer and better. And just keep on remembering and to keep this process going. It's going to continue building on the foundation we started today. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and turn on the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, and we're going to go ahead and you can do questions of the entire series now of everything that we've talked about. You can start working on maybe setting up a few of the tagged workflows that you will need. If you book Royal Caribbean all the time, do that. If you book Croatia all the time, if there's certain things that you're going to be doing, set the base for it. Set that foundation. Again, you don't have to put anything in there yet, but you have the foundation. So as you get to that point and you start building those, you have some place for those things to go to. Okay. Now we're going to do this Q&A, and I'm going to go ahead and do this for 20 minutes. And then at 3 o'clock, I am going to turn off, or I'm not going to turn everything off, but I'm going to just let you guys know that I'm switching gears, and I'm going to show you, for those people that have purchased workflows or had somebody set up workflows for you and you want to integrate them or move them into what you've set up as your foundation. If you want to move that in, I'm going to show you a demo on what are the ways that you can do that. There's different ways to do it, but I'm going to show you what worked for me, and you may find that works for you. It may not work for you. It doesn't matter. But I'm also going to show, for those of you that are coming from an old system to a new system, I am going to show you how to use the Chrome extension in your old system to bring in your emails and your forms and your things like that, to be able to make it a much quicker process of moving over for you. And so we're gonna do that as well. So that being said, I did want to go ahead and point out one more thing. In your packet, there was and I hope you guys can see this, there was a contact book to beyond workflow. This again is not all encompassing, but hopefully that will help you kind of create what kind of pipeline you want to create once a person is booked, because that will look different. Some people have a lot more hands-on stuff that they want to do. Other people are really light touch, and that is where it really comes custom and personal to what you want to do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the people off of mute first, and we're going to go with the people that have their hands raised first, which is Stefano. You are the first, my dear. Go ahead and ask away.
Okay, great. I have maybe more than one question, but
Okay, that's fine.
The first one was on this tagged workflow.
Okay.
And the thing that kind of stumped me was that you don't want to trigger these off of trip status changes.
No. The
Okay, so
reason, the
an
reason,
example, yeah. I,
and the reason is the trip statuses. If let me see if I can give you an example. Uh let me go to here. Okay. So I am going to so I'm just going to add this. I have an email here. Let me just grab it here, okay? Um Sorry, I forgot where I was at. There it is. Africa. Oops. I guess I didn't get it done. Never mind. It's not there. It is. Oh, I know. It's because I haven't moved it into the place yet. I'm just going to grab one. It doesn't matter what it says. We're going to pretend that's my Africa one. Okay. I just wanted to get that on there so that there's one on there. So there is that. I have got, okay, this is my workflow. All right. I have got this trip to to Africa going on, okay? And it's already in the booked deposited spot, okay? I'm actually going to move it back one step because I want to re-trigger this email. So what I'm going to do is I've got this email that is the booked waiting for or booked this deposited one. And when I move it in here, and I'm going to go ahead first, let me step back. And I'm sorry, Stefano, I need to just stop. Take a deep breath and think about this. So I'm going to go ahead and use the trip status workflow as booked deposited. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use that as my workflow. I'm going to go ahead and automate that, and I'm going to save and close it. I'm going to go and remove that workflow or go and remove that tag from here so I can re-trigger it. Okay. Everything is all updated. We got it all done. Okay. So I'm going to go to my trip here and I'm going to say, okay, they booked, they're deposited. I now know that they are deposited and they're ready to go. If I go and I add this workflow, which is this one here, and I put on South Africa, and I go to my automation because I have a workflow that I'm having the trigger happen. It's supposed to happen 2 days after the event. You know, that might, well, let's see. Just let me finish this. Go here. Oh, because I have no emails on it. Dang it. Let me go back to that. My apologies, guys. I thought I was on a different one, or I thought I had one here. Just put that one there. I may have to go back and do that again. Let me just do one more time. Yeah. Let me remove that workflow. Sorry. I thought I had that trip completely set up, so I did not. So I'm going to go ahead and move it back. So now we've got the person, the client come to me and said, yep, we're going to go ahead and prove it. They've approved the deposit. And now I'm going to go ahead and move them into that book deposited workflow. And it's going to apply that workflow, which I don't have activated. But that's okay. And I'm going to click on South Africa or tag it down here. And I'm going to go ahead and tag the South Africa workflow. And you're going to see that it's on. There's the South Africa workflow. And I have an automation. And you're going to see that there is no trigger. There's no upcoming trigger for it. The reason is because that trigger can't happen because I'm already in the trip statuses. So it can't go back retroactively. Okay. So now I'm going to remove it again. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make my workflow triggered by the automation added. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and have it send immediately just so we can see that in real life. So I'm going to go ahead and I have my Africa workflow immediately. I'm now going to go back and add this workflow. Geez Louise, what am I doing? Overview, sorry. And go down to tagged. Just delete that and we'll add it back in here. South Africa. Now I've added that workflow, so it's showing up here, right? The automation triggered immediately because I had the right spot here. Does that answer that question,
Yeah, I
Stefano?
guess I'm trying to understand why that's any different than a regular workflow.
Because it's tagged and I have not, because if I'm already in a column,
Yeah.
and I have an automation that's set to be triggered by that column, and I have not added that workflow to the trip because I'm adding it via a tag. Because not every one of my trips go to South Africa. This is only a tagged trip for South Africa. If I did it as every trip that as soon as I added it to the booked workflow and it triggered every single tagged, everything destination and every cruise line, then I'm going to have a mess, right? I want to make sure that when it's booked, I'm using a tagged workflow for the destination so that when it goes out, that it's going just for that destination. Because a trip going to
Oh.
South Africa looks a lot different than a trip to Alaska,
So
right?
so it doesn't look at it as has tagged South Africa and is also moved into booked.
No, that's correct. That's correct. It's only looking
So
at
it's
this.
only one condition.
Correct. Correct.
Ah, that's a hole. Yeah, I could see why that. I
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah, but that's this is something they just added for us recently because we kept saying this is an issue because when I would add a tagged workflow, I'd have to back it up a step and move it back in.
Okay.
And I know that
So
rather, so this helps alleviate that so you don't have to. So that's why I say when you're using a tagged workflow, try to avoid trip status changes. Use the other ones if you can. All right?
okay. So the other okay, so here let me just throw one or two examples on that
Okay.
one, right? So like if you need to make reservations on a, you have a cruise tag, right? And for Virgin, and you know that reservations for
Uh-huh.
restaurants open at, you would make that off of like the trip start date, like 50 days before, that sort of thing.
Yes,
That's an
exactly.
example.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Use it before the trip date. I want to go out this time in advance. Yep, that's exactly right. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. I can work with that.
You
Can,
bet. It's actually once you start doing it, it makes so much sense. So
it's easy. It sounds easier that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is a lot easier than
I
trying to
just
figure
didn't
out other
understand the
things.
distinction between this workflow and another workflow. I thought
Yeah.
it would hit both variables.
Yeah. So no, you know, it doesn't hit both variables. It's only the tagged piece is only happening in yes, your trip is sitting in the trip status, but you're adding another workflow which is tagged. So that's where the variable happens different.
All
So
right. Can I slip a quick
yeah,
one
go
in
ahead.
here?
You said you had a couple, so go ahead and do your last one real quick, and then I'm gonna go to
Okay.
Kelly.
You had mentioned yesterday about requesting something from I think it was a support email. I don't know if they were like starter packs. I didn't
Yeah, oh
follow what
yeah,
you were talking about.
it's called a Tern starter pack. It's basically with new clients as they come on now, they have a Tern just some starter email, starter forms, starter workflows that are all inside just a folder. And you can request that they just started doing that not fairly recently. And if you want to get those, all you need to do is send an email to support@tern.travel and ask if they will put those into your account.
How is that
Okay.
different than the shared community ones? Or just more
Because they don't have it
period?
as they don't have them in the shared community. These are ones that will actually come in. I will show you what they look like. I have mine set up as do not use just because I wanted to not confuse people. But this is what they look like. So the don't use one. This actually will say Turn starter workflows. And these are the ones that are on there. So if
Oh,
you want
they're
those,
workflows.
well,
That
there's
they're
workflows. There's also emails
okay.
and there's also forms.
Oh, so that looks very close to what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those things are, but so you could go ahead and do that. There's a lot of different options and different things, and you may use them, you may not use them. There's a lot of different ones. So that's kind of help. Hopefully that helps you.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Kelly, you're on. Feel like a radio host. Okay, Kelly, you're on the air.
Sorry. Just as you said my name, I had a coughing fit.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right. Can you go back in your personal workflows to just your workflow list
oh sure. You mean like the
that had the international and had all that stuff?
okay, yeah, okay. That was my let's see, I gotta stop and think, where is that? Okay, here, my library and my workflows. There, like that, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, that's activities. Sorry. Let me go to workflows. There's my workflows, like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have administrative, client care, cruise line, destination. Um, okay, I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of
Yeah,
that.
go ahead. Right ahead. Go ahead, right ahead.
And then can you would you be willing to go into the um international
Sure,
destination
sure.
just so I can,
Just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. And you can see I
yes,
have several that I've started
right.
that have nothing in them. That's because people have booked and then there's something that's happened. But I build the workflow as I go for that country.
Okay. Sorry, I have to save every
You know
screenshot I
what?
take
Do
before.
not apologize. Totally 100% okay.
All right.
All right.
Let
All
me take
right.
one more screenshot. Okay. All
All
right,
right.
good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Kathy, your hand up is hand up. Go ahead and go.
Okay, I have one quick thing. If you could go to your workflow, number
My own
4,
personal workflows or the ones that
the one we were doing.
the one that we were doing. Okay, thank you for
Yeah,
I just want to make sure we get you. And so do you want to see the workflows? Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
go to workflows. Your number 4.
Okay.
You don't have any emails or
You're
anything
right.
in?
I don't have anything in there because yesterday this is kind of where we stopped. I haven't created any emails or I have one email excuse me, email that I need to create that is going to be sent to the client to let them know the proposal's ready. And I
Okay,
just
so
didn't get
that's the
that one
only
done.
thing you put in that.
Well, and then I do have a couple of things I'll put in there as for my own self for tasks. Um, this is one of those places that really becomes custom. How do you approach doing your quotes? Do you go and pull quotes from and so it's kind of becomes really customizable. Let me show you what I do in my own personal account.
Okay.
This is where they're completed at. I'm there, I just hadn't done it yet. So in my proposal workflow, I just have tasks. And I just, the first thing I do is I add price and available disclaimer to the itinerary. And what that means is, I'm on, is in my activities here under administrative, I have a pricing and availability disclaimer, which is shared in the community, the activity types. And I just put this at the top of my thing to let them know the images and descriptions are provided by the company. They may not be current and may contain inaccuracies. Use them as a general guide only. I quote the timings are the at the time. That's what the timing is on these. These are some of these things are also reiterated in emails, but I have it there constantly there. I let them know things are not confirmed until they paid their deposit. Variables can add that. And I just put this in there because people have a tendency to do it. So it's just something that I put in there. Um, Mostly it has to do with images, but I also want to make sure they know that about the availability and that type of stuff. So that's one of the first things that I do on my proposal. That's what that means. I also, first thing I do is if they've now paid their planning fee, I email out, I'm just noticing some things that I've been updating here is I email the planning fee out to them and or not the planning fee. I email their confirmation email to say, hey, I have got your confirmation here. And then I do have an email where I set up a proposal call with my client. I don't have the timing on this one. This is one of those ones that timing gets adjusted quite often, as well as my create proposal. And I'm going to actually probably do that in 5 days. You're seeing me adjust things in real time, just because I'm seeing them, so I'm fixing them real fast while we're there. So I now have everything kind of set up the way that I want to, and it's ready for what I do. Yours may look completely different. You're going to notice I have no automations here. There really is not an automation. I do have some emails I want to send out, but I do not have automations for anything. And these ones may or may not need to go out depending on how quick and responsive the client is. Okay, so that's my proposal one. And that's the proposal in progress. And then I have the one once that I've presented the proposal to them, it's presented. I present it to them, and it's usually not too long where I'm going to go ahead and apply the deposits to my credit card, to the vendor, and then I have to input it in my CC. And the reason I have to do that is I need to be able to create an insurance quote because of the way I have to do things. I do have some follow-ups in automations. I am going to, thanks, Elizabeth. I am going to test this part out. It's kind of to see if it's still going to work. I had my ones, the follow-up proposals that were in my proposal, the one before this, and they weren't working. So I modified that. I'm going to go ahead and allow these ones to run and see if this works better for me. So I'm kind of testing this out. I realized during my wave season, or as I called it, my tidal wave season, this was not quite working the right way for me. So I am now, right now, finessing it, trying to make it to find out what will work for me moving forward, because I recognize some issues. So that's how I do that. So kind of have to look and say, what do I need to do? What needs to happen at this point? Does that answer that question?
Thanks.
Okay, Nancy, go ahead.
Hi. Again, I just want to say thank you for all of this.
My pleasure.
Yesterday I got lost kind of in the middle of it. I was doing okay, and then I started putting folders and folders, and I basically had a panic attack.
Totally understood. Have you
so,
since learned, and we've since shown you how to get folders out and move
yeah,
them
oh,
out?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And I figured it out yesterday, but by that time
You felt lost already.
behind. Yes. So
Yeah.
I wondered, could you please go to your workflows from yesterday and just let me get a screenshot of the 00, 01, 02. Yep, just of those
Just the
workflows.
workflow. So you just need that. Okay.
Exactly. Just because I want to make sure that I have everything in there. Okay, perfect.
And
And then
what's nice is these tell you too that you need to make sure you know what emails need to be in that same spot. So that's kind of nice.
exactly.
It tells you a little bit about that. You said 001. Okay, there we go.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And 2, you said?
Yes, please.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And hold on, that one has the
Oh, let me
automatic
think
Swiss
that's down.
bottom. Yep, I have to get that one. Okay.
Whoops, let me get that on the screen. Did you get that all?
I'll just take another one just in case.
Okay.
And then let me just see if
Sorry about this.
03 as well.
3?
Yeah, 3. I think that's right when I was like, oh,
That's when everything started falling apart on you,
I
huh?
think that's when the wheels fell off the bus.
That's okay.
Yes.
Totally understandable. Totally fine.
All right, and then let me just look at 4. Can you go to 4, please? I'm so sorry.
4, I did not actually put anything in there.
Okay, super. Well, then I'm caught up.
Oh, yay! Woo!
All right,
And-
perfect. And then
Yes.
I got yeah. So 4 and 5
Yeah.
have
And
nothing.
Michonne,
6,
yeah.
6 I
Michonne
have the
also is
3
asking me.
automations and 3
Yeah.
Oh, so I have 3 tasks on 6. You have 4.
Yeah, and I may have and my task, I think I added the add tag based workflow, or I might have switched this up there when somebody was asking a question. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Lovely. Thank you again.
you bet. So there's the 6, there's number 6. Whoops. So if somebody needed to do that one. Oh, whoops, and this should be active. Sorry. I kind of turned things off and on a couple of times to when we were demoing a few things. So I wanted to make sure we got that. So there's 6 and let's see, what was the other one? Oh, the automation down here, the paid in full. And then there we go. Okay. Now, one of the things that we did not talk about that I do want to talk about real quickly, and I guess I talked about it yesterday, but I haven't today, is the automation, when to actually, how it triggers. So we've got everything in our workflow, okay? But these ones up here are ready to go. This one down here, it's not ready to go. So once you have it all ready to go, you now have to automate, or you have to trigger the workflow to do the job. Because until you do this, all this stuff is just going to sit in your library and go, gee, I wonder why they did all this work and now they're not using me. Okay, so we want to make sure we're using it. You need to come down and you can remember the ones that I have that are trip status changed. You click on the little drop down, there's a trip status changed. Then it's like, okay, this is my booked deposited one. So as soon as I put my trip status, or as I change the trip status to that, it is going to trigger this workflow. So basically this name and this status are going to be the same. And then you click on enable workflow. And now when I move a trip into that booked deposited workflow, this this workflow is going to attach to a trip. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on here and I'm going to show you that. Oh, yeah, there you go. Do your screenshots, right? So anyway, I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm just going to skip all. Well, I'm going to actually, I've got some workflows and I'm just going to move this through. Let me add something to the itinerary, or not to the itinerary. I need to add an overview. I need to add a traveler just so I have a traveler on it. I go put your on that one. So I just wanted to make a traveler because I wanted to just take you through and show you what's happening. Okay. Now, the very first workflow that was on there did not trigger because I did not have a workflow person. I mean, it did come on there. So I want to show you. No, I did not. I did not have it even had it set up yet. I didn't have it turned on. But we're going to pretend that these guys are now, I've gone through, they've set up a call and I've scheduled a call for them. When I put them to the call scheduled spot, it triggered this email. Excuse me, not this email, this workflow right here. Okay. So now when I look at it, I'm going to be able to open up this trip and I can look and see there are 5 tasks, and those are the 5 tasks it added here. These are the things I need to do, but it also had an automation on it. So I'm going to go ahead and look over here on automations and I can see it's now ready to go. All right. So that is the first one.
So from yesterday, the only thing I have auto applied is the new inquiry workflow with 1 automation and 2
That's
tasks.
totally fine.
And
That's
that's fine, yes, because that'll be for anyone new coming in,
correct.
and it doesn't trigger anything on anybody I have.
Yeah, it doesn't, ones that were already existing on your board, it doesn't touch them. It's only on
So,
the new ones that come in.
all right, so if I want to go into that workflow, since it is auto applied, and just double check that that automation has correct emails and everything, I just do that from the email template and make sure that
If
that
yeah,
everything
yeah,
is because we were kind of fast yesterday, so
yes.
just making sure that
Yeah,
um
you just,
I'm
so what
happy
I
with the
do,
verbiage.
the way I check the way I check my stuff, I'll just show you this. What I do is I actually open up the workflow. I'm gonna do just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and move this. I'm gonna click that to a new tab so I can jump to it quicker in just a second. But I want to put these side by sides here. So what I do to check my workflows, okay, is I usually open up my emails on one side and then I will go to check the workflow. So I've got the workflow here and I pull it up the emails. And the reason I do the emails with it next to it, this allows me to look at my workflow. And then it allows me to say, okay, I have 1 email in here, and it allows me to double check and make sure that email is here. Jennifer, there is not a template for the headers. You can create, I'm going to stop real fast because while you're kind of getting this in your mind of what I just said, you can change that. The emails, I create those all in Canva right now. So I will talk about that later. Okay. So I'm gonna go,
Actually, on that note, Chloe, I'd love to know what size you use
yeah,
because I think
I'll
it's kind of
literally go in and
tricky.
I'll show you. I use 1,000 by 225 or 250, I believe, pixels. That's what I use.
That's awesome because I've
Yeah.
heard that the on computer versus phone is tricky.
Yeah. Well, and the trick, let me tell you the little trick about that. People don't know this. I didn't know this until somebody told me about it. So when you have, oops, I need to be in my emails. And you guys, and I'm in my account again, okay? So I'm in my own personal account here. And I'll just go this new one. So when you have a header and you click on it and you've added it, if you go over here and you click stretch, because it's already close to where it's going to go, what's going to happen is no matter how big or small I make that, it's going to keep in alignment with my
Ah,
email. So it
awesome.
doesn't matter if I'm on an iPad, a computer, a phone, that email header is going to stay in alignment. Now, let me show you what happens if I stay left with it, okay? If I go like this and I make it wider, well, it's not going to work here. Let me see if I do it in preview, if I can get it to do it. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it. But if I do that, it's going to stay to the left and it's not going to expand across. Okay.
Okay, so then doing the stretch and then in Canva you just add a very wide margin.
Yeah, I don't even add a margin.
Oh, you don't. That blue background is
Because somebody asked another question that I'm actually going to go into Canva and show you what I do. Okay. And let's see, Canva, where are you?
it's in the row 2 to the right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I always forget about that. I don't know why did I always have to do the drop down menu. So I'm going to go to my home. Oh, let's better go to projects. I've obviously got a lot of things. I obviously use this a lot. So in my dream vacations, There's my email headers. I created an email header that I'm using the branding from that I'm supposed to be using. This actual background here, let's see if I can delete, is actually a photo, or it's actually from my website, from my host website that they have as part of their headers for like regular mail. So I brought that in here. Let me actually go down to the very, very bottom, and I will show you what my actual template would look like. Okay. Again, I think I have almost getting close to 200 email
Holy cow.
templates, because I don't get rid of them. I keep them right in place. I just keep on going. So, and I have 193. There we go. I want it to be go to 193. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this one real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the pictures and all that stuff from it. Okay. So you can see that what I used for my template. And you could do any way you want to. I've done several. I might there's some people in here that they may see that I've done email templates for them. But I just put a block in here, and then I've got this, so then I can I made the same template for every one of my email headers because that's brand recognition. Now the things that do change. Oh my God, I just realized something. I got to do something. But that do change sometimes will be the pictures. So I did the Carnival Cruise Lines ones. So I have those here, and I use Carnival Cruise Line stuff. For doing my Turks and Caicos, I use Turks and Caicos photos, but those are all for my Turks and Caicos ones. Okay. So I still have the same basic layout, but I use different photos for different things. Okay. So traveling medications, there's my medicine one. I am going to go back to my home, and I have done email templates for other people. And I want to show you some other different types of styles, because it does not have to be that style. Let's see. Okay. Well, here's the ones that I use I have ones that are for sale. And this is kind of ones that I use. This is the style that I use for the ones that I do for other people. I actually did somebody else's stuff, and this is actually her colors, but so I have ones with pictures on the side. So there's another option of types of things that you can do. There is, this is actually the one that I use for mine. There's one for one of the gals. We helped create something for her like this, and this is what her master email header looks like. And then she has just beautiful, could add in different things. She's actually gone to this and added and modified and made some just beautiful templates, emails.
And you said your basic size is 1000 by 225 pixels.
I believe that's what I use, is 1000 by 225. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Can I ask you a somewhat personal question?
Sure.
What did you do in your life before travel? You are so extremely organized.
I'm a mom, a grandma, and I actually have done a lot of different things, but for almost 20 years, I worked in the crafting industry, and I traveled and taught people how to use an electronic machine, a die
Oh
cutting
my
machine.
God, because the level of your organization is what I strive
Yeah, well,
to have. So thank you.
yeah, well, and because of that, I had to stay very organized, because within that company, I was the person that went to all the events. But I also was the design team manager. I was a designer and did a lot of stuff, again, in the crafting industry. And so I had to be organized with that. And then I accidentally started the business during the pandemic, because I'd got myself a laser machine for part of my hobbies, and it blew up as a business. And I had to be organized for that. And that is where I really started going down. I'll just show you. So these are my files, and I had to get extremely organized. And that's kind of how it really, really started. And the piece that really got me organized in Tern, everybody says, what was your favorite feature last year? Hands down, without question, is the folders for me. That was the piece that brought it all together. and then to really get to dig down into the naming conventions, those pieces that, when when I'm showing you guys this, this setup here, these naming conventions are the pieces that hands down made it so that I could be organized as I am. So I hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay.
Thank
It
you for
helps a
sharing
ton.
that.
Thank you.
You bet. And Terry, just a real quick, so we were just in Canva. I started out with a blank page, and then my first thing I did is I found oh gosh, let me see if I can find it real fast. So when I'm in here, let's just go back on and just create a new one here. I'll just start by I'll just kind of show you how I started. I did it as a custom. 1,000 by, I think I can't remember if it's 225 or 250. I'm just going to do 250 just because that was what was there. And so I have my thing here. The very first thing I did is I go to my elements and I chose a grid. I looked at the grids to decide and determine what do I want it to look like. And for the one that I did, I used this one right here. It has the place where I was able to put the title across the top. I created a background that went in there. So right now it just shows that blank. You could put a background in that photo place. And then I added photos here. I was able to create here in the elements again. I just pulled a shape in here that was a banner. Whoops, I did two of those. Sorry. I got a little click happy. Sorry. Come on. Why are you not doing that for right there? It's doing a little weird thing for me. Maybe I have to get closer. Add it. I don't want to see that part. Isn't that weird? It's
You
doing
have to just go drop it onto the board.
Yeah, I just had to do, I was just trying to, and then I just turned this into the piece that I wanted and made it, I basically made the size that I wanted, created the color I wanted, and I used my own colors. And then I actually made one title using the fonts that I want to use to create consistency. And then I had my one, I used for my main original one, I found some pictures that I had taken while I was on trips that I took up, and then they were locations I want to book. So I used those in these picture places. You don't have to use this layout. You can, mess around with those elements and those frames to get a look that works for you. Maybe you only want to have one picture on your header and then the rest, do it however you want to. But that's how I started with it. Okay. So Stacy, your hand is up. And David, just real quick, I just want to let him know, the recording will be available on the Turn and Learn in probably hopefully Monday or Tuesday. Nona's pretty quick. Just depends on what else she's got on her agenda for Monday and Tuesday. But I will have the recordings to her so she can get them put in place as quickly as possible. Okay. So go ahead, Stacy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, hon.
That's okay. Okay, I have a question that kind of drills down very specifically.
Okay.
The situation example is I've created a Disney Cruise Line tag with automations to send email reminders for things like check-in or excursion bookings that are very date specific.
Uh-huh.
So say I base that off of the trip start date.
Okay.
But then there are always variations like
That
someone
people
goes
want
a
to go
day
2 days
early.
early or whatever. Okay. They are very actively trying to work on that piece. They think if I remember, they just talked about it in Flight Path.
Mhm.
So they know that this is an issue right now. Unfortunately, at today's date, when you have that happen, you will want to apply it. Have to go up and just go and manually adjust to the specific date you need it to go at for this time. Hopefully that will be getting updated very soon. And we'll be able to say, I need this to have it start on this day 3 of the trip, or whatever, we'll be able to be
Or
more,
even maybe off of the specific booking.
yeah, it's something. And I don't know what that looks like. I just know I think it was this week that they said something about it. So that
Okay.
means it's something there. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's percolating. Okay.
Okay. The thing I love about Tern is we're not looking at 3 years down the road.
Yeah, they are literally working on it and I know that I just don't know what, I have no idea what the engineering on something that looks like. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what that, I don't know what it takes. I don't know what it impacts. So,
Right.
so that, but yeah, they are working on that. But in the meantime, unfortunately, the situation is once you apply that to your itinerary, you will have to go manual adjust those dates real quick.
And I can go into individual
You
email
go into, yeah.
applications for that trip and change the date.
Correct.
Okay.
When you make a revision or you adjust it, workflow inside the trip, once you apply the template to the trip, anything that you create or you adjust inside the trip, it will not impact your template. It's
Okay.
only going to be for that trip. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Sasha, you are next up. Thank you guys for raising your hands. This makes it much easier. So go ahead, Sasha, you're on. You're
Thank you.
on there. I feel
Yesterday,
like I really should have a headset on and I should have my
caller
microphone.
number two.
Caller number two, you're online. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know what happened yesterday. Even earlier in the call, it didn't give me the option under to raise my hand, and all of a sudden it did. So I don't know
It's
what
because
changed.
I had it blocked.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Well,
So I had it
that
blocked during
explains.
certain times because, and I will be honest, I get very distracted. And so I'm trying really, really hard to stay on task so that, especially when if you go back and you watch the recording, if I don't have 55 interruptions happening, I stay on task much easier. So a lot of that is for my purposes, but it also helps people that are watching. We try not to watch the chat, but we sometimes get dug down in that chat and then we don't watch what's going on the screen. So I try to do that and I feel like it worked better. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you
It
guys.
did.
Okay, so good. But anyway, go ahead with your question
Uh,
here.
a couple things is one, I know that we have the workbook and we have the processes, but I find that the slides are very helpful and have more information as well. But I don't think they're included in the workbook. Will we get the slides as well?
I don't know how to do that, but I would love to do that. David, is that what you were asking when you said sending out the presentation of the slides?
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I had to take a call for a sec.
Oh no. So okay, um I don't know how to do that, but I will see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, because what we're trying to do is just, and I don't know about everyone else, but there's times where I'm looking back and you have the process flow, but when you can see the slides and some of this, it's got the keys or the
It
hints
helps
that you
trigger
have,
things for
it
you.
just helps trigger it. So I do think that of one, I love the training and the presentation, but someone who's not as experienced as you are,
100%.
we need as many
Well,
tools
this
and
is my question. Okay, so here is the slide, and then it has the notes that I wrote for myself.
yes,
Would that whole thing work for you?
yes,
Okay, because I did
yes.
download that as a PDF. And let me see. Now, the thing is, my notes may not make any sense to you, but they might. And you guys will see the turn off chat, turn on chat. I even have to remind myself when to turn things on, when to go to the next slide. And sometimes I still get out of order, but I will do that. So, okay, let me I have the PDF of it right now.
Because for me, when I'm looking at it, I I'm process driven, but being that I am a very new Turn user, like
This,
yesterday was my first time understanding the processes and how to build the flows. I'm like, okay, I can kind of go through this a little quicker now. But
yeah,
when I'm looking at some of the screenshots you had, I'm like, well, this helped explain this. If I had gotten this
that totally makes
this
sense.
first,
Well, I'm
it would have
literally right now
connected it for
downloading it,
me.
and I'm going to drop it right here in the meeting chat.
Thank you, because that's so helpful. But the slides, just so you know, Chloe, the slides are very helpful for me personally because when I'm taking my notes, there's not enough time in the course to just sit there and take notes.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to grab screenshots and then jot down a couple of things. So I
yeah.
just think for me and for some of the others, that may help. And then my second question or comment is
Okay. I just want to
um,
let you guys know just real quick, because I have dropped that into the work. That is, I just dropped the PDF into the chat.
thank you. And then the other thing that I was going to ask you is because I'm also a new Term user. But before you mentioned it, I didn't realize they were giving us bulk templates. So if we've done get part one and now we're doing part two, um, basically just asking like the ones that they sent us, do they have more finished emails? Because I don't have a lot of emails finished
Honestly,
out
I
and what
don't
I've
know, but the
added.
thing is you can use what you want and what you don't want from there. Because if
Okay.
you see one that you really like, you could replace. One of the things I will tell you, I'm going to give you just a little bit of what I did in the early years. I had seen emails from different places, and I would literally take. So I like the idea from this email. I like this one. I like this one, and I would put them together. And then I discovered Chat GPT or Claude, and I would say, and I would take the those three emails and say, using my, leaving this in Clo voice, can you combine the ideas of all these emails and make it be clear and like, I really go through, and then I'd have a chat back and forth to make sure it sounded like me, didn't look like AI, and then I would end up using that one as my email. So you can do that if you want to. Okay. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Stephanie, that just nailed it. The templates are just a starting point. I when I first started, I got the Teak templates back in at the end of I think or the beginning of 2024. And I literally could not tell you in my emails if it came from Teak or if it's one of my originals. I have no clue because they've evolved so much and they've changed so much. But that was a foundation. They were kind of the pieces that I built up starting on and really was able to make my own. And
But
as you start, does that
but
make
did you
sense?
feel like it was worth the money to do it?
Um, for me, it was because I was a brand new agent. I had
Right.
no idea what those are. If Tern had all the things that they have available to me now, I wouldn't buy them.
Okay. Good to know.
And that's just because we have such an amazing community. I might do things like I would buy some of them. I wouldn't buy the whole thing, like because I didn't know I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't know what I didn't need. Does that make sense? So like for me,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I mean I hate to do this because I don't like people thinking, oh, she's pushing her stuff. I have templates that I am purchasing, okay? Or that I have sell for purchase. I literally have two. This is how low on the totem pole it's become. But I've had so many people say, I want that workflow. I want that workflow. Well, I can't just give you my entire workflow because it does not make sure it makes sense. But within all of my workflows that I have, there are things that can be useful for everybody and still tweak them. So I now made my payment workflow available that you can put in there because that's the, payment one, payment two. And those are just some people say, I just don't want to go through and set those up. I have the email headers on them and everything like that, and they're ready to go. You just have to, it's kind of like a plug and play. Another one that I had is I did my Canada workflow. Had many people ask that because if you have anybody that's going on a cruise and even touches Canada, you need to make sure they know about the DUI thing. There's things you want to make sure they need to know about. We don't want them to get to the port and find out they can't go because they had a DUI 10 years ago. So I have with the forms and the emails to get a validation from the client, or what they call but they have to fill out the form to tell me they've read it and they understand that, so they can't try to hold me responsible. So those are the only two I have available right now. I have requests for other ones, and I do have them getting closer. I just kind of got hit by wave season, and now I'm kind of coming to the slower time, and I'll make them available. But quite honestly, there's so much stuff in the emails and the forms. But that kind of brings me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Have we? I want to. I'm going to
I
go
wanted
ahead
to
and
ask my
finish up
last
with these
question
couple of
really quick.
questions. Yeah, Shanti, go ahead and go first. You've got a question here. I've got three more people that have their hands up, so go ahead, Ashanti. She maybe did she
Hello.
maybe?
Ashanti, are
Oh,
you muted?
yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
Um,
still muted.
yes, I
We
was
were just
muted. I'm
chatting away to you,
sorry.
weren't you? No, that's okay.
I think I found what I needed. I was just gonna ask about the client care workflow, but I
Uh-huh.
think I found it in
I was say you may have found it. There's a lot of people that do the client care. And that's just I call the client care workflow for me is the Send out birthday, anniversary, and I actually quit doing anniversary. I've had too many clients get divorced, so I don't want to accidentally screw up on that one, so I don't send that out. But I do the passport. I remind them at 1 year, 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, just to make sure they have that. And I did just drop that link to this into the chat for those of you that just asked for it. So Melissa,
Okay.
okay. So
Thank you. Is the client journey and the client care the same, or is that totally different?
it depends. This is where it becomes down to words. What words do you use? Some people call the client journey part of the trip status of what they're going through. So you need to look at it. So it sounds like to me, you are in the templates. Or sorry, you're in the workflows and you are looking at the workflows. Okay. So I'm going to go to
Yeah.
turn. So I'm guessing this is where you're at right now and trying to decide what do these work well. Well, this is the piece that you want to look at. It's going to tell you what is it. So this is client care workflow. That's for your contacts. But there are down here, the client journey. This is a trip.
I see. Okay.
So look and see what they are, because client journey and client care may mean different things. So it's going to tell you what's on there. Open them up. You don't have to actually use them. You can look and see what's on them and say, yeah, that doesn't seem like that's what I want. Or yeah, it seems like that's something I want.
I gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am going to make a caution. Okay.
Okay.
In workflows. See how many of these are auto applied? The second that you download or make a copy of that, immediately, if not sooner, okay, I'm gonna actually click on this one. Immediately, if not sooner, go down and disable it.
Okay.
That
Gotcha.
way, gives you a chance to make sure there's nothing in there that is not what you don't want. Okay.
Thank you.
So that is true on any time you get an automation. Don't ever open up or download an automation that's auto applied. Immediately go turn it off, or you're all of a sudden going to have clients go, I'm getting all these weird emails. Okay. So make sure the very first thing you do when you get a workflow from somewhere else is turn off that automation until you make sure it works for you.
Got
Okay.
it. Thank you.
All right. Melissa, go ahead.
Okay, so yesterday back, I think it was, well, I don't remember what step, and that's kind of irrelevant. It was more about setting boundaries where you were saying, this is how I work
Yeah.
type thing. Do you have an auto email responder that goes out just for any email or?
I have a lot of emails. So when I talked about that setting a boundary, that was kind of and kind of creating that this is what it looks like right
Right,
now. That literally comes from the very first steps. So as we
right,
talked about yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and just talk you. So when a client reaches out to me, they say, I want to go on a trip, and I don't immediately jump in. Oh, well, what do you want to do? Yada, yada, yada.
right,
I
right.
ask them for their email and I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email with a form in it that when you fill that out, it's going to send you another email as soon as you fill that out to to schedule a time for me.
Hmm.
That just did several things. One, it told people I'm a professional. It lets them know I'm organized. And I just set a boundary that says, you don't just call me and say, I'm going to start a trip and I want to do it right now. I just told you you have to make it on a schedule. You have to set
Right,
time. So that was what I meant by a boundary there. I didn't
right,
in one place, not one thing that I said, well, these are my boundaries and these are the only things I'm
right. No,
going to
no,
do.
no, no,
And I said,
that's not
yeah, but I'm just saying I was able to set a boundary
right.
by just creating that workflow. And
Hmm.
then it continues. I have in my trip request form, I think I showed this yesterday. I'm actually going to show my actual trip request form. I think I just updated it. We'll find out. But in my trip request form, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit on, whoops, not there. I got to open that and then I'm going to click on preview. So in my trip request form, down at the bottom, I actually tell them, please understand that while planning your trip, we will be in contact via email, text, or scheduled phone.
Right,
So that
right.
right here, I'm setting another boundary.
Yes, I
So
love that.
the boundaries come in more as these aren't my hours, but these are the way that I communicate. And then
Hmm.
I have to say, make sure I'm not sending emails in the middle of the night because
Right.
the client thinks I'm doing that. Because
That's
do you guys know that you can schedule so like if you have an
that's a
email,
new thing, right, with Tern.
it's actually been there for a long, long
Oh,
time.
Okay,
It's
newly discovered by
it's a
me.
I was gonna say that may be a newly discovered thing. And what I'm talking about is, okay, let's say for this client, I need to send out, I've had the discovery call and I don't and it's an evening one and I don't get that my recap sent out right away. I can go in here, create my email, apply the template, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say recap. Set that all up for them, and I make sure they're on here, that I've got their information on there. And then I can down here see the little drop down on where it says send. I can custom send that, say send that tomorrow morning at 9, or I can say send that at 7 a.m. in the morning. I can customize it. So even though I'm working outside of what my hours that I've kind of set boundaries on, they don't know that because I customized when I could
I
send it.
need that arrow to be like bright red because
That I forget about it a lot too.
or
I
bigger
do.
because the more times than not, and even just last night I did it. I hit the darn
Yeah.
send button, right? I'm like, no,
No, I wish we could recall it immediately.
Yeah, I
And it's
know.
just, I said, I've gotten better at, I do the same thing. I forget, but I'm
Yeah,
getting better at it.
yeah,
The more people try to contact me in my off hours, the
right.
better I get at it.
Right, exactly.
And,
Like,
and so
I
it's really,
don't want to
sometimes it's
work
just trial
seven
and
days a
error.
week. Just because I am doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
like, I want to continue
Same
that.
thing
So
with,
that was kind of,
well, and I always worry, when I get like a text message, I'm really careful not to hit on it
yeah,
because I don't want them to think that I read it.
right,
Just
exactly.
like,
Nope,
can I
gonna
see
ignore
enough of
that.
it to know what that is? Is this an emergency or are they just reaching out?
Right,
Okay, there's enough that I don't have to hit it and read. I don't have to click in it to show to read it.
right.
So yeah, I understand that. So, but yeah, that is one way you can do it. But
So
um,
you don't use an auto email responder like, yeah, I'll get back to you in 2 business days
no,
or,
no, I
Mhm.
don't. Because in most of my emails, it lets them know this is how I work with their I'm trying to think what the word I was trying to say. And that, don't you hate it when there's a word and it just leaves
Yeah,
you?
poof.
Um, I don't have an auto responder,
Hmm.
but by not answering it till the next day, they now know that I'm not going to answer an
Hmm.
email that I got at 8 o'clock at night, even though
Hmm.
maybe I did answer it, but they didn't get it till the next day at night.
Right, right.
So it's more about that. I don't have any autoresponders for that.
Hmm.
And I don't know if anybody else does or if they do that. So
Right. It's just something I'm considering setting like for the weekend, right? I am not going to reply to your emails until,
yeah. Well, and you can let that, and you could do that, or maybe in your signature,
right.
just let I
Yeah,
mean, I will be, that maybe put your hours,
right,
maybe my normal operating hours of business and put
right,
normal hours because
right.
understanding there are
Or
emergencies that
generally,
happen. Yeah,
yeah,
my normal operating hours are this,
yeah,
and then put a
right.
disclaimer. There are, if I'm out of town or whatever, I will try to let you know, or please note that, these times may change from time to time, but we always try to
Mhm.
keep updated. I don't know what the wording on that, but you
Yeah.
can put that something there. That might be a way to alleviate that. But I find for the most part, if somebody sends something on a Saturday, they know they're not going to get an answer from on a Monday.
Oh, not my people. Mm-mm.
That's because you haven't established that. You
You're right. Yeah,
just do
it's
the
very
email.
much on me. Yep.
And you can do those in subtle ways just by um somebody when you're in the thing now, I'll get back to you on this here, or when,
Right. Right.
XYZ, or if they do send you a message and you want to respond, say, hey, I can't get to this right now.
Right.
I will respond to you in my regular business hours. Oh, Jennifer just said in my signature, if it helps, she says Monday through Friday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 2, and Saturday closed for the family. Emails are answered within 48 hours. For urgent assistance traveling in 30 days, call or text.
Hmm. Yeah, I like definition of what urgent is, right?
Yeah.
Like you're leaving in 6 months, you do not have a crisis.
Yeah, if you're traveling within 30 days. So that is excellent. That's an excellent text, and then you may totally see that in one of my emails very soon.
Coming to an email
Yeah, coming to an
nearby.
email near you. Exactly. So, okay, awesome.
And
Thank you for
then
doing
what
that.
about on your voicemail? Um, does your
On
voicemail?
my voicemail, I think it just says thanks for calling, leave a
Okay,
message.
okay.
That's all I do. I don't put anything on there, and I do not answer phone I do not answer my phone on that. I'm just laughing. Somebody else got their annotations on right now. I do that too. So I do not answer if I don't recognize the number.
For sure. Yeah.
I've quit doing that. I used to think, oh, what if it's a client? And I
No.
realized, if it's a client's going to leave a message,
Right.
or they're going to get off and
But
text you.
then, so I have a client leave a message and they're like, call me back. But I'm like, no, I really want you to make an appointment.
Well, you know what? That's say tell them here's my scheduler. Go ahead and set up a time we can talk.
Okay.
So
Just
that's what I do, Chloe. Like if I have a client,
Yeah.
I'll look at their phone number, and if I know that it's a text message, I'll send them a text that says, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't chat right now. Here's the link to my calendar for a time that's
and
convenient
you
for
know
both of
what
us."
you just made me think of?
Awesome, Stephanie.
You know how in on messages you can
I send the link. Mhm.
yeah, you could actually customize your message and have it included with that. Say, I'm not available right now. Go ahead and set up a time and schedule a time. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that a lot. So,
Making
okay.
notes.
Yeah, in notes. That's excellent. I like that. Sarah, you are on deck. What can we do for you, my dear? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I thought I did, but instead I was just putting a million spaces in the chat box.
Okay.
Someone else had asked the question further up, and I kept looking to see if there was an answer. It's the email headers in Canva. You're saying you think it's 1000 by 225, and that's in the pixels. Like if you have it
Yes,
in
pixels, the PX, yes. And I either do 225 or 250. You can mess with that, see what you prefer.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's definitely the 1000 on the left, right?
Yeah, it definitely is the 1000 part. Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. You bet. Sasha, go ahead. And then I'm going to get to Terry. Hopefully that will be the last question, because I really, really want to go through and show those people. I want to show the couple of things for people that already have stuff in place, as well as show you how to be able to. There's somebody that asked earlier about how do I bring my stuff in from Travify? How do I bring my stuff in from Test? How do we know? I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. So Amanda, go ahead.
You said Sasha. Did you want Amanda to go first?
Oh, Sasha, I apologize. I thought you undid your hand, so I thought you just realized. Oh, whoops! I had my hand up. Go ahead, Sasha. Go first.
Oh, no problem.
Sorry.
I was going to ask you about Claude and projects and some different things, because what I'm starting to notice is that I'm maybe not leveraging the tools that I currently have to the full extent. And I was
I'm
using.
gonna do I'm getting better at Claude. I did for people that use Chat GPT. At some point, I did. It's probably not available anymore. I did a class. That's a thing. That's a whole class, and I will do a class at some point. That might also be a good thing on a Q&A. But with all the stuff that's happening with Tern right now and the AI and the oh my gosh, I cannot believe what's happening here. Claude is going to become less and less important to me. I'm starting to be able to do a lot of the things other than directly about specific destinations and stuff like that. I'm starting to be able to do a lot of that in Tern. So I'll do a training on that. We'll do some classes like this and be able to go through and teach you how to set it up and to be able to utilize it a little bit better. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, because if we have some capabilities in turn that I was not aware of through the AI. So if that's
Well,
the
you
case,
got to
I would.
realize a lot of those things right now in AI, the Tern literally have been pouring out the last 2 to 3 weeks. I
Got
mean,
it. So that
literally. So
okay.
yeah, and they have like so many things go. I mean, if you don't watch the podcast,
I do. But I hadn't caught up with the
yeah,
last one
watch
since
this one.
April
I
1st.
just
So
watched
I
this
just
one.
watched it this morning.
Yeah, so holy cow, right?
Yeah, that was one. And then you mentioned Brave, and I know that so I'm a Mac user, so I
Uh-huh.
have Safari. So I've been having an issue like splitting the screens. I've been just pulling up two screens and putting it together. But I
Uh-huh.
know you mentioned Brave versus Chrome, and I was looking at Brave at one point, but I can't remember why I was looking at Brave instead of
Because
Google
Brave
Chrome.
is a little bit more secure. It doesn't ask us. It's not quite as invasive, for lack of a
Okay,
better word, as Google Chrome is. It's just
okay,
But
That's what I was
there's
figuring
so much
out.
stuff in Google Chrome. It's kind of a thing. I normally use Brave. I did use Chrome today because I think they need to have Brave may need to do an update because I was having mouse skipping or not wanting to click where it's supposed to. And I don't know if it was my computer, if it was it, but I just don't want to deal with it today. So, okay. Amanda,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
You may have covered this yesterday, and it
Okay.
really has nothing to do with what we did today, but yet it does.
Okay.
The email that explains how to use the Tern app.
Okay.
Because I'm new to Tern, when do you recommend sending that to clients
I
within the workflow?
For me, I send it out just before when they schedule their call. The reason that I send it out at that time is I charge a planning fee. And so I want them to already have it downloaded and be able to be prepared to pay me my planning fee as soon as the call is over, as soon as I send them the information. Because so I always kind of think about it. When's the first time I'm going to be collecting money? Because I also want to train my clients to use the app. Because you hear people say, well, my client can't go in, I can't go in. Well, it ends up coming down almost always, even though the client says, no, I'm using the app, that they're on the browser or on their phone. Okay. So really, honestly, that's what almost always happens. And when that happens, it throws them into these issues where they can't go in and stuff like that. So I try to get it as early in the process as possible, but I personally recommend that you have it send it out slightly or shortly before you're going to start asking for money. So if you don't do a planning fee, then maybe the place you would do that is maybe the day before you are going to present the proposal to them, where you're going to be needing deposits. So it's kind of like I'm putting it in that spot. I have some people say, "Oh, I don't even do that till the end of the trip." But I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, you want these people to get this. This Turn app is fantastic." For those of you guys who have not really looked at the updates, it is fantastic. It's easy for people to use. Authorization is easy as use. It's, all that. And half the time when people are doing stuff, they're on their phone. Majority of people. I don't know if you guys noticed as I was creating an email today that I said, from your computer, click on the trip link, or from your phone, open your Turn for Traveler app. Okay. And I can show you the email that I use for that is if you actually go to your emails in the library, go to emails. If you click on Turn Community, it's the very top one. And you can make a copy.
I just want to say I love that email, Chloe, because I found that and that's what I have. And I was like, well, I don't know when to send this because I have always used Travify. And so obviously that's a lot different. And I'm trying to get everything set up over here because my host uses um, Tern or will be using Tern. And we are now like in with Tern. And so
Yeah,
I want to make sure that I
that you have
have
everything
this
to make
all
that.
set up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So thank you.
you're very, very welcome. I just wanted Melissa, the SureX is hard to choose on the app. You're not choosing SureX on the app. If you're in your Turn app, you're doing it on the computer. So that is something completely different. I'm talking about the Turn app. Okay. If you're talking about Project Expedition, that's different. But the shore excursions can still be done on the app. But if you're and so just to clarify, okay. But so you're not using shore excursions,
I'm
you're using
talking about, so sorry, for example, river cruise, where
okay.
the excursions are all included. Okay.
Yeah,
They're not paying for them. So a given day has five options, you
yep.
know. Um, People have a hard time using the app to see what's actually
And
available
that's
and
actually
make
that's a perfect time to direct them to their computer
right. So
because
now,
then
because I was having a hard time and I hadn't put that piece together that they were trying to do it on their phone because, from my phone, I have the TA app. So I had to make up a trip, send it to my husband to see what they were seeing.
do you know that if you log in to the Turn app with your login information for Turn, that you'll be able to see 25 trips, the next 25 trips on
Yeah,
your okay.
yes, that's what I have. So I wasn't seeing where the people were having trouble picking out their shore excursions because from my end, I you can't even really see it. The thing
Yeah.
is, I've got a group, of
When you have a group, you need more,
right. I
space.
have 40 people leaving, right? So,
Yeah. No, and I understand that. So yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. But you know what? There are times that I direct people to computers, and then I
right,
have people say, well, I don't have a computer. And it's like,
right.
okay, tell them to turn it into landscape.
Okay,
Switch it to landscape. They're going to be able to see more stuff.
got it.
Okay. So there are workarounds. Make sure they're not using the browser on their
Right.
phone. Make sure
Yeah.
they're using the app.
Yeah, you definitely hit that home yesterday.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, 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 no,
It
no.
makes
That's
it
very,
different.
very good,
So,
right?
okay, good. Okay. I just want to make sure. So, all right, Terry, go ahead.
Just for people who aren't as experienced in turn, do you recommend the conference?
100,050%.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. There's Stephanie even jumping in.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
and it's
yes, yes, yes,
fun.
yes. Yeah, it's fun. And oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, I went as somebody that was doing one-to-ones and helping on it and last year, but the amount of stuff that I learned and I'm supposedly know some I just can't even tell you how good that was. I mean, it's literally the best conference I've ever been to. And I did scrapbooking conferences and I mean, I've done conferences my whole life. It was the absolute, and let me tell you why it was so good. They didn't bring in a whole bunch of people, other vendors and trying to sell you stuff. I always felt like I was going to all these other things where they're trying to come and sell. They literally had where you were sitting down and you were working and learning in turn as you go. I just can't even believe it was so much fun to watch people. And then they did the coolest. I just got goosebumps. Stephanie, were you there this last year? I can't remember.
Absolutely.
I was thinking you were. I couldn't remember. I'm pretty sure you were there.
Oh yeah.
I
I,
was
I literally
there.
just got goosebumps. Okay.
Yeah.
This is how much on the last day, and we did not know they were going to do this. Okay. So during the conference, they were getting, what are some of the things that you want to do? They had the engineers working on these things, and they released stuff at the conference that last day that none of us knew about. And holy freaking cow, it was so amazing.
I think one of the biggest things about it is that they actually listened to the things that were our pain points. And they're like,
Yes.
okay, we need to fix this right now because these are your pain points. And
Yes.
they had like
And they
a
did it.
crazy session with their development team to get everything rolled out by Sunday before we left.
I have literally never seen anything like it
No.
my whole life, ever. I mean, in a conference, you guys, I'm 62 years old. I've been to a lot of freaking conferences. Okay. I've never seen anything like it. It was the most, and I always laugh because I'm old enough to be most of and I call them kids, most of these kids' parents. There's only two people that work at Tern that would be my much younger sibling. So I'm the old lady in the group, but it's just I'm so excited and proud of them and what
Ditto.
they're
Yeah.
doing. I used to be part of my job that I had that I told you I traveled a lot with. I was part of a software development team. I was one of the main testers. I was one of the set ones, and it would take them 6 months to roll out one thing. These guys are unfreaking real. And you notice if we ever have a bug, boy, they jump on that as fast as they can. And a lot of times they're building and adding all these quality things, quality of life things. And then all of a sudden you're going, oh my gosh, that quality of life thing they did was because they were building all the layers to get us to this piece. So just remember, even if we're not getting big things every week, everything they're doing is being worked on towards one of these big things that we're having. But that canny board, that under when you click on help and you go to submit, they look at this every single week. Go in and up, I'm looking at it from my thing. Believe me, most of these are all marked off, but go in and upvote your favorite features. Okay. Or the features that you'd like to see. Make sure you're doing that. And then you can see what's in progress. You can see what's planned. A lot of times you might see something in here that is actually this. Oh, let me show you how you get there. So in help, click on submit feedback. Now you may have to, the first time you may have to log in or sign up. I just use the exact same credentials for myself that I use in my Tern.
Thank you.
You bet. And you guys, canning is huge. And then if you want to do feedback, put in feedback here. but they absolutely 100% look at this. They listen. It's literally never, ever in all my years seen a company that's so responsive and that really wants to make this work for us the right way. So yeah, just the learning is amazing. So, and there's going to be one-to-one sessions. I mean, like there will be me and Scott and Jennifer and Jen, and I think Stephanie, I don't know if Stephanie, I can't remember I don't know exactly what everybody's doing, but they have different people that will be teaching. Like I'll have one-to-ones. They'll release my schedule and you'll be able to set up a one-to-one while you're there, and we'll literally sit down side by side and we'll work on something for you. And it's really cool that, maybe it's, yeah. Nope, Lisa, that's what I'm going to do here. Just a second. Stephanie's going to talk, and then I'm not going to take any more questions. So, yeah, now you know what oh, you know what, Michelle, that's great. For those of you that want to go to the conference, and I do highly, highly, highly recommend it. Go to
I
Tern.travel.
posted it in the.
Oh, did you? She's awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so she posted the link already. So go to Tern.travel and join us. It is absolutely worth it.
Thank you. I think I will go ahead and sign up for it, even though I'm just getting back from a conference the week before.
You know what? It'll be fun because you'll really be able to see the differences between the two conferences too. So that'll be really, I'll be really interested to hear your process, what that went like. So Stephanie, go ahead, and then we're going to switch on.
I was just going to say, because I'm sure that you're going to go somewhere into the Google Chrome extension right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on the Tern.travel/learn. I searched the Google Chrome, and the extension is the wrong one.
Okay, hold it. So tell me you're on.
So go to Tern.travel/learn.
Backslash. Okay, whoops.
And then learn.
Learn. Okay. This one?
No, not just the regular help.
You know what? Oh, you know what? I need to go in there from my am I on my regular account?
So go to help, go to Tern and learn. Okay, so if you type in Chrome there.
Right here?
Yep. And then that first one that comes up is the install and use.
Okay, and that's wrong.
Click there. And that first relevant resource, Google Chrome extension download.
Is wrong?
Is wrong.
Okay, I will update them. We found another one that they had that happened.
Okay.
So the better way for those of you that are going to do the Chrome extension, the better way for you to find that right now, instead of going into Tern and Learn, is to click on the Help Center and just type in Chrome extension here. And it's going to, this is the correct one. Okay, so it's updated. So when you click on Chrome extension, you're going to see, this is what you're going to see. Okay. So just for right now, that we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that Chrome extension, but I want to do one thing before we do that. There are a lot of you that have done, I'm sorry, trying to get in the right place, that have workflows that they've gotten from somewhere else. Okay. And I'm going to go to one of the workflows. I want to show you that you can integrate it if you want to. Okay. And I'm going to use this one because this is what we worked on today, was booked workflows. And I'm going to just open that up, and I'm actually going to delete that one here. So I may be looking at this and say, okay, well, you know what? This works. Okay. But I don't want this to happen until the pre-travel. I want this to, maybe there's something that you don't want to have happen until a little bit later on. What you can do, and this is how I did it. The first time I ever had a workflow, I think it was like 20 automations. It literally took me from the first initial contact all the way to the end of the trip. Was all in one great big workflow. Okay. And I thought, yeah, this isn't working for me at all, because I don't even know if I need a payment workflow on there, because I don't know if they booked yet. So what you can do is you go to your workflows. Over on the right side, you can click on that and you can duplicate that workflow. I'm going to duplicate this workflow, and I am actually going to change it to my my 09, which is my pre-travel checklist workflow. I'm going to put a little asterisk in front of it right now, because this is telling me this is the one I want. And it's like, you know what? That doesn't belong in this one. this doesn't belong to, and I'm going to go through and delete anything that does not apply to that. I want to maybe check that. Maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I don't want to do this at this point. I'm just kind of going through what are the things that I want to have on my pre-travel workflow. Maybe these are some of the things I want to do that. Maybe I want to do this at a different time. So I'm going to just pull them off. Okay. And then I can look at here. I don't need the payment reminder on here. I don't need the 90-day. But you know what? I do think I want to send out, I need the pre-departure to stay there. And you know what I'm going to, but you can see what I'm doing is I'm going through and just immediately deleting all of the things that I don't need. Okay. So then what I do is I keep the things that I want on this workflow. When I come to my workflow here now, I can say, okay, this is my pre-travel checklist. I don't have anything on it. I don't need to worry about moving anything over. I'm going to just delete that one. I'm going to go back to the original, this one right here, and I'm going to remove my asterisk. And now I just set up my pre-travel workflow and it's done. Now I am going to have to do a little bit more. I'm going to have to go find my emails and put them in the correct file folder. But I have my that set up. That's just a quick way to do that. I love to be able to, I always say it's easier to delete something than to add something. So just duplicate a workflow that you have that you're working, but maybe you don't have the pieces in the right place, but make sure you duplicate it. One of the things I would recommend you do for your master is either put example or master so that you know that you're not accidentally writing over it and immediately update it to the correct name that you're going to use. Okay. So that's how that works that's just a tip I've been wanting to share with you of one of the easy, quick ways that I do that. Okay. I do not have a ton of emails in the wrong place, but say you've got a bazillion emails that you've gotten from somebody and none of them are in a correct place. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this one, but let's just say, you know what? I want to add in a proposal follow-up. I want to do these different, follow-up, send a client proposal, and say I have all these different ones and I can select as many emails as I want to. I can then say, I'm going to move those items and I'm going to move them, again, moving them all three at one time, and I'm going to put them in my proposal emails in progress. Okay. And I'm going to put that in those emails. So now I have them in the correct spot. And I just, yeah, what is this? Oh, sorry, I'm on the do not use. So then I go into my proposals and those emails are now in here and I can now add them to my workflow. Okay. So hopefully that will help you start organizing all the things that you already have if you're wanting to adjust them to work a little bit more for you instead of feeling like they're working against you. Now we are going to go and I'm going to switch off. I want to make sure I'm completely logged out of my regular account. And I'm going to go and make sure I'm going to actually log out of Chrome and then back in. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm doing it a little bit different way. And I'm going to, where did I put my Chrome? There it is. Open up Chrome. Excuse me. I am actually going to go. So one of the gals here and is letting me use, she used emailforms.com for that's what she's been using. Well, we needed to be able to move all of those email forms over for her. Okay. And I got to get logged in here. Sorry, give me just a second to get all that information here. There we go. Sorry, I should have logged in beforehand. So anyway, she has all these ones in email form. This could be job form. This could be email forms, whatever. I did something wrong. Did I not grab everything? I get that. Oh, you know what? I missed one of the parts of it. Okay, let's do this. I just missed part of it. I just need to go back and redo that again. What am I doing? Well, crud. Okay, guys, I'm going to use one that has nothing to do with travel. I'm going to go to my own ones. Let's see. I'm really stupid when it comes to Chrome. So just how do I get to my like my file folders in Chrome? Do I just go google.com? There. Yeah, that's what I need to do. So I'm going to go to my drive. You're going to see me jump back into one of my old businesses. I had a form that they used to have to fill out. So I had a form because I used to do custom rubber stamps for people. So I am now on this form, and this so that if you have a form again, and you can do this wherever you have them, whether it's email me forms, whatever it is, you can go ahead and add those. Get those. What you're going to do is on the Chrome extension, I've got it installed, and I'm going to go ahead and authorize the extension. I need to log into my account. I'm going to go ahead and use my demo account, and I'm going to authorize the extension. So what that does is it brings up this. Excuse me, it brings up this on the side, and I'm asking it, or it's asking me, what do I want to create? So I'm going to hit on this. I want it to create a form template for me because I have this form all ready to go, right? What type of form do I want it to be? I can choose it to be a contact form, a custom form, or a trip request. I'm going to go ahead and just do it as a contact form because I'm interested in how it will put that together for me. And if you have a folder you want to put it into, you can. Well, we just made all those folders, didn't we, guys? Remember how we did all of that? Well, you can now stick it in whichever folder you want to, and it's going to be ready for you. So if you have a CRM or you used to use something else, if you have forms in Travify, if you have forms in Test, whatever, I don't know, wherever you have forms, you can go open up that form and Tern is going to import them for you. Now let's look and see what it looks like, okay? So I have one and it's giving me it's telling me the title. It's saying this is how I use this. It's asking, I've asked for this information. It's asking that, it's got the address. It's asking all the information. If I want to, and I'm looking at it and saying, you know what, I got to require that because I'm going to be mailing something to them. I can do that. I have my T&Cs there, and then I can ask them all the information. And then I have a thing that says I do require this. They're going to have to send me an email outside of this. So I would have to adjust and adapt a few things, but this is not my normal thing. So that is what it's pulling in. Earlier, what
preview that?
Huh?
Can you preview that so we could see it as a preview?
I sure can. I sure can. There it is. Thank you for saying that. I should have done that. So this is what they're going to see. Now I can go through and modify and adjust it as I want to. It pulled everything down as well as that I needed. Now I'm going to go to another one that I did earlier, which is what I was going to try to show you. That showed up. She has, they're doing a VIP group and they needed t-shirts. They want to get their t-shirt information. And so they were having to fill out this big old form. Well, this right here gave them their custom form that they're able to tells them all this and what they'll be able to order. And she gave them the travel names. It got all this stuff information here, and it's asking what size do they want. Do they need to have it to be a traveler's, shirt, whatever. She's obviously gonna have to go in and make a few tweaks on it, but overall, this whole thing is in here. The reason I wanted to point this out, and I gotta find this real fast. She just was telling me that since they switched over to Tern, they are now saving $1,938 a year. They're no longer paying for 4 different things that they used to pay for because it's all being done in here. And this was kind of one of those last pieces that they hadn't had a chance to pull everything over yet. And because, forms take a little while to create. So if you have a form already created on Jotform or emails or email me or wherever you have a form, you can bring it right into Tern. You may have to do a couple of quick adjustments, but it's there. So there's one thing I was going to show you. I'm going to pull this off of here for just a second because I have to put this over far enough because I'm going to use her CRM. She's let me do this too. Don't laugh at me. I'm creating. She says, I don't want me to show my picture. So I've got to set it up so I don't show her picture because I appreciated her letting me use this. I'm going to put that right about here. I believe that's going to cover her picture. I may have to make a little modification, but we'll do that. Okay, so let me grab this. Oh, I'm still in the wrong spot. I'm probably going to start putting all kinds of things. Sorry, guys, I grabbed the wrong thing here. Okay. Did pretty good. That's pretty good guess station. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the templates and we're going to go to the email templates. So again, if you have email templates somewhere that you need to be able to go, I know I want to pull, she has some Royal Caribbean ones that I want to pull. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you an email that I'm going to go ahead and pull from. So this is what the email looks like. And if you guys will notice, it's a lot of pictures, right? There's a lot of pictures, a lot of not other stuff. I'm going to go ahead and go on that again to that Chrome extension. I'm going to see if I can move that over a little bit. I can't. Okay. Chrome extension, I need to authorize again. I'm going to go in and sign in with my Google account. And I'm going to authorize the extension. This time, I want it to be an email template. So this is for her Royal Caribbean one. So what I could do is if I had a Royal Caribbean folder set up already, I could use that. Well, I don't, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in my do not use one. And I'm going to let it import that. And I'm going to, in the meantime, while it's importing, I'm going to try to draw another shape so I can move this over and be fully on the screen. There we go. And then I can delete that one. Okay, so there we go. I'm learning how to use that. It's taking what's on the page. So here's the email template that it just pulled. It just pulled every bit of information on here. No, it doesn't have all the pictures and stuff like that. If she wants to do that, she can go back and do it, but it just pulled all the information. A little bit easier than trying to copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So if you have folders or if you have emails that you want to continue using, whether it's on Travefy, you know what? I wonder if I have anything in Travefy. It's been such a freaking long time. I do not know. So give me a second, and I'm going to actually see if I have anything in Travefy that I could use. I have to stop and think what my password is. Sorry. I'm going to set a mobile thing for myself. Okay. Okay. It's been so long since I've been here. I don't even really know what I have in here. I'm going to not do that. Let's see. Library. Where would I have emails if I had something in here? Somebody that's a Travefy person, where would I find an email? Would I have created an email and would I have had an email I could create here?
I think with my situation, I have like some surveys and some information that I've created, not so much emails because that comes when you're getting ready to send their itinerary to the client. So it's just more like the forms and documents that have been
so you have
already.
So I can look at forms so I'll just like maybe I want to create a let's just say let's just do a passport information form. So let's say this is the form I want. Okay, and I can copy it. I'm going to just see if I can pull it right from here without having to actually do anything else. This is a passport, so that'd be a contact form, and then I can put it wherever I want to. Again, I'm going to just sort it in do not use. So I can import that form, and I don't know if it's going to work because I didn't add it to my account, but we'll find out real quick here. And you have some in the library. I'll switch there in just a second if that's where they're at. So let's look at this as a preview. Yeah, look, oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys just understood what just happened there. I'm going to pull these apart and I'm going to split the screen.
That is amazing.
Okay, so I want to show you what just happened. And I was in the marketplace here. I can get rid of this now because I'm out of there. So go to here, marketplaces. Whoops. Had to get back my mouse here, sorry. So right here it says the passport information, and this is what it's looking like. And you guys, it's asking for all of the information for you to type it in. Well, it read that it's passport information, and it just pulled that thing right into place for it. And then it has all the other stuff. Now, if I don't like it in this order, I can go into I can go into here and I can modify it and move things around however I want it to be. Holy cow, that was awesome. Okay, so somebody said that their emails are in their library. What if you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a trip. So one of the trips. Is that what it be? So this might be, oh, these might be ones that I did trips for, or somebody has. So let's like say, I want to bring in this trip here. Okay, so say this is one that's like, I need to bring that into my work. This is Travify, this part right now, but it can be used anywhere. Okay, she specifically asked Travify, so I'm using that. So I'm clicking on Travify. This is a template. Now I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to create a trip template, but I do know that they're trying to work out. You know how if I do activity, I can drop it into wherever I want it to go. I can add it to the correct trip right now. They are working on making it so I can make this be dropped onto a specific trip. Right now, it's just getting imported as a template. So this is the Chrome extension that we're talking about. This, like we said earlier, if you want the Chrome extension, Stephanie has dropped it here several times, the link to it, or you can actually go to the help in Tern, click on Help Center, and click on Chrome, and it's going to tell you exactly where to download it from and how to install it. And I'm just right now showing you how to use it. Okay. Yes, this is huge, especially if you're coming over from another system and you want to bring all your trips over. A little bit faster to do it this way. So here's the viewing that. And it's telling them this is where you're staying. There's the flights, those are out of order. I would put them in order. You guys need to understand this is one of the first trips I ever did, and because of this, I will never do Disney again because I hated Disney. But anyway, this was just bringing one that I don't think I had. I think this is all I had in on it. Yeah, I didn't really have anything on it. It did not pull it in great. I don't know if I had trip activities. Brave is the same thing. When it says Chrome extension, that it means it's going to work in Chromium. We just found out yesterday. Brave, Google Chrome, and Edge are all Chromium browsers. There's also one called Opera or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. That is a Chrome extension, and it will do this for you. Okay, I use Brave normally. I'm in Chrome right now, but I usually use, in fact, actually, you know what? This is Brave right now that I think I have. Yeah, I'm actually in Brave right now using it. So it's still called a Chrome extension because it's for a Chromium browser. So you have Google Chrome, Brave, Edge, that type of stuff. They are all Chromium based. Okay. All right, guys. Holy guacamole. What a day, right? I am happy to stay around. If you guys want to work on stuff, I'm going to be working on things. I can stay around for just a little while. That way, as you're working on something, if you are stuck on one of the process that we have learned over this couple of days, and you need to just have me demo it again for you, I'm happy to do that. I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. And basically, we're going to go kind of almost what I would call co-working.